Imagine owning a painting that ages instead of you. Every sin you commit, every moral line you cross, shows up on the canvas while you stay young and beautiful forever. That's the premise Oscar Wilde built one of literature's most controversial novels around, The Picture of Dorian Gray, published in 1890. It caused a genuine scandal in Victorian society, and was later used as evidence against Wilde himself in his infamous trial. Before we begin, let's meet the three people at the heart of this story. Dorian Gray is a strikingly handsome young man, innocent at first, who gradually descends into moral corruption. Lord Henry Wotton is a charming aristocrat who preaches a philosophy of pure pleasure and plants the seeds of Dorian's downfall. And Basil Hallward is the painter, Dorian's true friend, and the one who creates the portrait that becomes his curse. The story opens in Basil's studio, where he shows Lord Henry a portrait he's painted of Dorian. Basil is almost obsessively inspired by Dorian's beauty. When Dorian meets Henry, Henry's philosophy that youth and beauty are the only things worth living for, and that one should pursue pleasure without moral restraint, terrifies Dorian with the thought of aging. Looking at his own flawless portrait, Dorian makes an impulsive wish that the painting would age instead of him, that he could stay young forever. The wish comes true. Dorian falls for a poor actress, Sybil Vane, and proposes to her. But on the night he brings his friends to watch her perform, she acts terribly because she's fallen so deeply in love with Dorian that performing love on stage no longer means anything to her. Dorian, disgusted, cruelly rejects her, accusing her of destroying her art for him. That night, he notices the first subtle change in the portrait, a hint of cruelty around the mouth. The next day, Dorian decides to apologize, but learns Sybil has killed herself. Instead of guilt, Lord Henry convinces Dorian to see her death as a tragic ascetic experience rather than a moral failure. Dorian fully adopts this cold philosophy. He hides the portrait in a locked attic room and continues his life in society, his face never changing. Over the following years, he sinks into a life of countless vices and cruelties, and every single one leaves its mark not on his face, but on the hidden portrait, which slowly transforms into a hideous reflection of his true corrupted soul. Dorian becomes the subject of scandal and ruin for many who get close to him, but his innocent appearance always protects him. Years later, Basil, hearing the horrifying rumors about Dorian, demands to see the old portrait again, convinced it will reveal the truth. In a moment of rage, Dorian shows him the painting has become monstrous, carrying every trace of sin and time. Basil, devastated, begs Dorian to repent. Instead, consumed by self-loathing, Dorian murders Basil on the spot, the one man who ever loved him without any hidden motive. After the murder, Dorian tries to escape his past, including sinking into opium dens in London's slums. Sybil's brother, James, who swore revenge years earlier, tracks him down, but is accidentally killed during a hunting trip, and Dorian feels a temporary, hollow relief. He tries to convince himself he's changing for the better, even sparing an innocent woman as proof of his reform. Dorian returns to the attic, hoping the portrait will finally show some sign of moral improvement. Instead, it looks more hideous than ever, because even his good deed was just another form of vanity. In despair and rage, he decides to destroy the portrait once and for all, stabbing it with the same knife he used to kill Basil. The servants hear a scream. When they break into the room, they find a hideous, wrinkled, unrecognizable old man, dead on the floor, a knife through his heart, identifiable only by his rings. The portrait on the wall, meanwhile, has returned to its original state. Dorian Gray, young, beautiful, and innocent, exactly as he was the day it was painted. At its core, this isn't just a Gothic tale. It's a meditation on the idea that no one can truly escape the consequences of their actions, no matter how well they hide them from others. Dorian's beauty was a mask. The truth underneath was always there, waiting to be exposed. The novel is also a quiet indictment of Lord Henry's pleasure above all, philosophy, since he never paid the price for his own ideas. Only Dorian did. That gap between appearance and reality is exactly why this novel is still taught, discussed, and adapted well over a century later. If you could make Dorian's wish eternal youth, in exchange for your true self absorbing every consequence, would you take the deal?